The biology of hiding. Why standing out feels dangerous. To see why you keep shrinking, we need to go back to the brain's alarm code. Humans didn't evolve in meritocratic boardrooms. We evolved in small bands where standing out could draw envy, challenge, or exile. Across Anglo cultures, there's even a name for the reflex to cut down the visible one: the tall poppy effect. Inside the body, it feels like a warning that praise is a prelude to punishment. Fear of positive evaluation has been measured in social anxiety research. It isn't shyness, it's the learned link that being praised increases exposure risk. Your brain tags applause as attention, attention as scrutiny, scrutiny as attack. The math is ancient. Visible equals vulnerable. Under the hood, the amygdala scans for threat. It's fast, crude, and better at false alarms than missed hazards. When your name's on the slide, the amygdala lights the siren. The bed nucleus of the stria terminalis, the BNSD, handles the long burn of anticipation, keeping you vigilant for what might come next. Questions, envy, the subtle shift in someone's face. Meanwhile, the anterior cingulate cortex, especially its dorsal aspect, tracks conflict and social pain. It flags the possibility that your desire to claim value will clash with the group's comfort. And the anterior insula stitches body sensations: tight throat, rolling stomach, hot cheeks, into the felt experience of being seen. Here's why that matters. The pain of rejection recruits some of the same circuitry as physical pain. When you've been iced out in a meeting, the dorsal ACC and insula don't politely disagree. They throb. Your body treats social exclusion like injury because, ancestrally, it was. The cost of exile could be death. So your system learns a simple trade: shrink now, get to tomorrow. Predictive coding turns this into a loop. The brain doesn't wait to find out if attention is dangerous. It predicts danger and then scans for proof. Once visibility equals attack gets installed, you overread neutral cues as threat and underread genuine respect as setup. Status salience biases kick in. You ignore 10 nods and brace for one raised eyebrow. The model sustains itself. You deflect credit, others stop attributing wins to you, and that social discount seems to confirm you were wise to hide. Culture pours gasoline on it. Mid-century conformity punished self-promotion. The 1970s pushed back on bragging. The 2000s taught performative humility. In many workplaces, face-saving norms restrict how much ownership you're allowed to claim out loud. The code is unspoken but enforced. Be competent, be liked, but don't tilt the room. People learn to shape their language to fit. Hedges, softeners, and nervous laughter that telegraph. I'm not a threat. Get this, most of us didn't learn this in theory. We learned it in tiny moments that hurt. There's the kid whose A+ drew a friend's eye roll. The next week, they share the grade quietly, and the eye roll vanishes. Reward delivered. The nervous system tags silence as safety. Fast forward 15 years, and that quiet competence is still doing the work. Useful for harmony, lethal for status. Meanwhile, something else is happening in groups. Humans sought status along two pathways: dominance and prestige. Dominance pushes through force or the threat of it. Prestige is granted because you're useful. People defer to you to learn. If you want prestige, you have to let people see what you can do and own it. But if your fear of praise reflex pulls you backward, your prestige bids look like deference. The room hears. They don't want the mic. Someone else takes it. What nobody told you is that your body doesn't need you to shout. It needs calibration. When the amygdala pings, the vagal brake can slow the surge so you don't tumble into appeasement. The anterior insula will still register heat in your face, but you can name it as arousal, not danger. The ACC will still notice tension. Your plan to own credit might upset one person's script, but that conflict cost doesn't have to decide your behavior. Here's a 20-second microstory. A mid-level engineer gets pulled into a demo. Their part makes the prototype actually work. Heart jumps. BNSD hums. Old model says, downplay. Instead, they take one breath and lead with, I solved the caching issue, so the load time dropped 38%. Then they stop. No apology, no joke. The manager nods, redirects questions to them, and writes their name at the top of the follow-up. The room just repriced them. Now, why does a single sentence change the market? Because groups thin slice fast. Claiming specific value isn't dominance. It's a prestige anchor. People can only defer to what they can attribute. When you erase the trail, they can't. Your brain thinks you dodged a blow. What you dodged was influence. There's irony here. Modesty, meant to avoid envy, can provoke quiet resentment. Others carry more load because you didn't convert your wins into structure. Clearer ownership, better tools, stronger processes. You avoid taking up space. They work around the vacuum. The social pain doesn't go away. It just shifts. To break the loop, we'll need 2 moves. First, update the threat model. Show your nervous system that being seen can be safe. That's memory reconsolidation, and we'll build it later. Second, learn microclaims that keep you in the prestige lane without flipping into bluster. You don't need louder words. You need the right start, a firm end stop, and the courage to let silence land. Biology loads the gun. Childhood pulls the trigger. In the next chapter, we'll see how that modesty you call good manners is often a fawn response, appeasement dressed as virtue. Modesty is fawn, the survival pattern hidden in plain sight. When modesty runs hot in your body, it isn't a moral choice, it's a survival reflex. In trauma literature, it's called the Fawn Response. When fight will get you punished and flight isn't possible, the nervous system picks appeasement. You placate, deflect, and self-minimize to keep volatile people stable. Outwardly, it reads as humility. Inside, it's camouflage. Make yourself small so the danger has nothing to grab. Here's what that looks like in language. You lead with hedges. I might be wrong, but you add disclaimers that strip your claim before it lands. This is probably obvious. You deflect credit. The team did it. I just supported. You paste in laughter softeners after saying something accurate, because the smile signals non-threat. Even your melody shifts. Your prosody drops a half step. The sentence lifts at the end like a question. You train your voice to say, "Please don't hit me," while your words say, "Here's what happened." The body runs the same play. Eyes drop a beat too long. Gestures shrink to the elbows. Breath holds right before your name leaves your mouth. The vagal brake overactivates to keep you cool, but it overshoots into collapse. You feel calm and foggy at the exact moment you need heat and clarity. The brain labels it being humble. It's actually dorsal shutdown flirting with helplessness. Cognitively, the fawn script has a few favorite moves. Preemptive blame absorption. If this goes sideways, that's on me. Apology forecasting. Sorry, quick thought, before the thought exists. Success sabotage. Missing the chance to invoice, present, or publish so you never have to face the reaction. Underneath is a rule you didn't author. Visibility invites harm. Avoid it by giving others what they want. Attachment history tunes this reflex. If your early wins triggered a parent's envy, you learned to stay low to preserve connection. If care was inconsistent, you became anxiously vigilant, micro-reading faces, hypermentalizing motives, building arguments in your head that neutralize conflict before it starts. If closeness felt smothering, you swung avoidant. Suppress wants, mute shine, call it independence. All 3 can wear the mask of humility. All 3 serve the same God. Safety through self-erasure. Let's draw a bright line between earned humility and fear-driven modesty. Earned humility can own value without apology. It says, "I led the redesign. The team executed beautifully," and means both parts. Fear-driven modesty can't tolerate the first clause unless it smuggles in a joke, a hedge, or a bow. Quick test. Would I say this the same way if no threat were present? If the answer's no, you're in fawn territory. Microstory. A designer presents a rebrand that increased signups by 22%. Their boss is mercurial. Old code fires. Keep it light. They start with, "It's not a big deal, but the tweaks seem to help." The room hears, "No claim here," and moves on. 2 weeks later, a peer repackages the insight and takes the credit upstream. Same work, different prosody, different enforcement. The fawn response didn't just keep the peace, it transferred the asset. Now remember, your fawn isn't stupid, it's precise. It's reading enforcement risk in real time. Predators. Yes, they exist in offices. Scan for who will push back. Self-minimizers look like low-cost targets. You can be brilliant and still inexpensive to exploit if your speech and body mark you as unlikely to retaliate. That's why you're nice keeps attracting more work and fewer. Rights. Here's where it gets tricky. Prestige, the path where influence is granted, still requires authorship. People need to see, track, and attribute your value to defer to you. Fawn language scrubs attribution. You become liked, even cherished, but not deferred to. The prestige trap is being everyone's favorite collaborator and nobody's first call when power moves. Appeasement and prestige don't mix. One dissolves the other. What nobody knew at the time, likely not even you, is how quickly these tells get priced by a room. The first 20 seconds decide whether your ideas get routed to you or away from you. If you lead with deference, you teach others to speak for you. If you open with ownership, you teach them where to send decisions. Let's get concrete about reversing the pattern. Start at the mouth. Replace hedges with precision. Swap, I think maybe we could for I recommend. Delete apology front-loaders. Keep the laughter for the hallway. Land sentences with a period, not a question mark. Give one clean claim, then stop. Silence is not a void to fill. It's a frame that makes your words legible. Then build somatic anchors. Before you speak, exhale fully to release the breath hold. Let your eyes settle on one face for one beat, then widen to the group. Stack your spine, let your scapulae set slightly back, widen your stance by an inch. You don't need bigger gestures, you need steadier ones. This posture doesn't project aggression, it reduces ambiguity. People relax when signals are clear. Add one cognitive reframe. Appeasement is not kindness. Kindness shares credit without erasing authorship. Fawn erases authorship and calls it harmony. You can be generous and still keep your name on your work. In fact, that's what allows your generosity to scale. Prestige needs a stable owner to accumulate around. Last piece for now, install a one-line ownership script. Pick language you can say under load. Something like, I led X, the team executed Y. Or, I solved the caching issue, here's the impact. Tie it to a breath. Use it first before context. This isn't bluster, it's clarity. The room can only respect what it can see. If you keep hiding, you're not humble, you're handing away the pen. The status economy, how groups price you in seconds. While that fawn reflex is whispering, stay small. The room is doing fast math. Thin sliced judgments happen in the first beats. Are you someone we should defer to, or someone who will defer to us? Humans run two tracks for that, dominance and prestige. Dominance gets compliance through pressure. Prestige earns deference through value that others want access to. If you don't mark your value clearly, people can't grant you prestige even if they like you. Here's where it gets crazy in practice. You think you're signaling politeness. The room often reads deference. Overqualifying, front-loading disclaimers, stacking thanks like sandbags. Those aren't neutral. They're submission cues. When those cues arrive before your competence is visible, your prestige bid downgrades into happy to support. Supporters get gratitude. Owners get deference. Different currency. According to the prestige dominance model, groups freely confer status when you reduce their uncertainty and increase their payoff. Costly signaling theory explains why saying, I'm good, doesn't move the needle. Evidence that was expensive for you to produce does. Hours invested, risks carried, artifacts shipped. Visible cost authenticates competence. Verbal modesty can't compete with a working prototype, a dataset, or a signed deal. The more your proof is observable, the less you need to argue. But there's a catch. If you produce cost and then detach your name from it, the market can't price you. Value floats around the team until someone else pins it. That's status leakage. The room heard. The team pulled it off. It didn't hear. I architected the piece that made it possible. Prestige accrues to the anchor point, not the cloud. Micro-story. A product meeting. 10 people around a table. A bug has hammered conversion for weeks. One engineer opens with, we collaborated and got a win. Heads nod politely. Another engineer says, I isolated the race condition and rewrote the queue. Error rate dropped from 12 to 1.8%. The room swivels. Questions go to the second voice. Deference markers follow. Fewer interruptions. Eyes hold longer. Decisions routed their way. Same team, same win, different claim. What nobody knew at the time was how reliably these markers map. People with perceived authority get more airtime without asking. Their sentences land without immediate challenge. Others paraphrase their points back to them. A signal of granted prestige. When you speak in hedges, you invite interruption. When you land cleanly, you invite questions, not corrections. That's not magic, it's pricing. Now layer culture. In some contexts, assertive claims are expected. In others, face-saving norms restrict. Bandwidth. The code shifts, but the mechanism doesn't. You still need attribution to convert value into influence. You just calibrate tone. In a high-face culture, I led X. The team executed Y might become, I coordinated X. Grateful to the team for executing Y. The authorship remains legible without violating politeness rules. You're not gaming etiquette. You're fitting ownership to local syntax. Gender complicates this further. Women and marginalized folks get narrower lanes for visible authority without backlash. That doesn't mean you avoid authorship. It means you make proof do more of the work. Evidence-forward openings, metrics, artifacts, decisions shipped, reduce the need for self-ascription. Pair that with a crisp ownership tag, and your influence rises with fewer social penalties. It's unfair. It's also actionable. Let's talk about gratitude. Excessive thanks at the top of your claim reads like you're petitioning for permission. Move gratitude to the end, after ownership lands. I ran the analysis that changed the forecast. Thanks to Maya for pressure testing the model. You hold the core, you recognize support. That order matters. Start with thanks, and you prime the room to see you as the help. And upspeak, the sentence that rises at the end. In friendly chatter, it's fine. In status markets, it suggests you're seeking approval for what you just said. End stops create a small boundary. You're not daring the room. You're telling the room where the period goes so they can respond to a complete thought. Costly signaling again. Investment beats adjectives. Replace, it was really hard work, with I iterated 17 versions, the 18th passed. Replace, I'm passionate about quality, with I wrote the test suite that caught 9 regressions. Now you're pricing with receipts. Prestige scales when others can reference artifacts without you in the room. Here's a quick drill that flips the prestige trap. In your next update, lead with a 3-second claim that attaches your name to the costly signal. I negotiated the vendor down 12%. We save $108,000 this quarter. Then stop. Let the questions find you. If someone tries to reroute credit, hold the frame. Yes, legal supported the paper. I drove the negotiation. Share, don't surrender. One more human moment. A quiet analyst finally tries this. First sentence lands. A senior rolls eyes. The analyst holds eye contact for 1 beat and repeats the metric flat. The room resets. That tiny enforcement, no apology, just restatement, shifts the price. Prestige isn't loud. It's legible, attributable, and enforceable. Remember, groups aren't scoring your soul. They're making fast bets with limited information. Give them a clean signal they can bet on. The Machiavellian cost of nice. Exploitation dynamics. While you're working to be liked, someone else is working the math. Predators, yes, in suits, scan rooms for compliance the way hawks scan fields for movement. They're not cartoon villains. They're rational actors looking for low enforcement risk. Fun signals, overthanking, hedging, soft laughter after a claim. Broadcast one thing. Low probability of retaliation. You don't have to say, walk over me. Your cadence says, you probably can. Here's how the drain starts. You do invisible labor because you're reliable. You deflect credit because you're a team player. You accept fuzzy asks without trade triggers because you don't want to be difficult. Initially, you're praised for being indispensable. Then your calendar swells, your leverage thins, and the praise plateaus. No receipts means no prestige conversion. You built value. Nobody can see where to anchor it. In the status market, unclaimed value depreciates. Narrative capture follows silence. If you don't tell the story of your contribution, the story finds a new author. People fill gaps with discounting. It wasn't that hard. We all kind of did it. Ops handled the details. That last one stings. Ops is you. This isn't malice every time, it's market behavior. The loudest clear signal sets the price for the whole bundle. If your signal is soft, the bundle gets repriced without you. Reciprocity collapses under nice. You trade gratitude for terms. You say, happy to help, when the correct frame is, here's what I can deliver and what I'll need in return. You accept scope creep without a renegotiation because you're trying to be useful. Useful becomes used. Gift economies work when there's shared memory and fair storytellers. In complex orgs, memory is short and storytellers are biased. Without explicit contracts, written or spoken, your generosity turns into a default, setting people feel entitled to press. Social proof withers when you deflect. Wins without an owner don't propagate. There's no artifact trail, no memo with your byline, no commit tag to your handle, no deck stamped with your name. Prestige requires public, attributable competence. Not because vanity needs it, but because groups need handles to grab when they want to defer. If every handle says team, then any hand can hold it. Your influence dissolves on contact. Let's run a case vignette. A fixer, call him Luis, unclogs snarled launches. He's the person product calls at midnight and finance pings at dawn. He never invoices reputationally. He closes loops, then shrugs to avoid spotlight. 1/4, he rescues an integration that protects 7 figures of revenue. In the exec recap, the slide reads cross-functional collaboration. Reese thinks, as it should be. 2 months later, resourcing shifts. He's not in the room. The narrative had no anchor. The market discounted the role. He comes to me angry at politics. We change one line. Next crisis, he says, first sentence out. I led the triage and re-architecture that saved 7 figures. Here are the receipts. He names his artifact trail. Incident log, decision register, pull requests. He keeps sharing credit. Ops and legal get named. But he locks authorship on the keystone. The pricing flips. He pulled earlier, paid in decision rights, not just praise. Why does one sentence do that? Because enforcement risk changed. People who claim clearly and back it with receipts signal willingness to enforce boundaries. Not with threats, just with clarity. You can't smear, we all did it, over a documented log with timestamps and signatures. The artifact trail inoculates against narrative capture. It's hard to steal a house when the deed is public. You might worry that claiming makes you a target. Sometimes it does. That's why you pair authorship with ethics. Share credit explicitly while owning the hinge. Led X, the team executed Y. That formula keeps your value legible and your relationships intact. Predators dislike clear contracts, collaborators love them. Your clarity helps the decent people find you. Here's the unseen cost of nice on energy. Every time you swallow a claim, your ACC flags internal conflict. You want to speak, you choose not to. That friction taxes you. Resentment accrues interest. You become curt in hallways, sour in meetings, but still deferential at the mic. People feel the leak before they hear it. They don't know what's off. They just stop routing authority your way. Claim cleanly, and the conflict signal quiets. You stop managing a double life, useful and unseen. Install deal hygiene. Before you say yes, ask for ask. Happy to take this on. Can you confirm I'll present results to the steering group? Or, I can do it by Friday if we drop the dashboard add-on. That's not greed, that's scope clarity. When the work lands, stamp it. Put your name on the doc. Lead the email. Archive decisions. You're building the audit trail that lets prestige price correctly later, especially when memory erodes or envy spikes. Watch how thanks can be a trap. Gratitude without terms teaches the room that your output is a gift, not a contract. Gifts invite more asks. Contracts invite respect. Move your thanks to the close, never the open. Lead with claim, then appreciate. It keeps the power sequence intact. One more microstory. A researcher ships a breakthrough analysis. In review, a senior tries to rename the method and center themselves. Old you fawns. Whatever you think. New you replies, even tone. Let's keep the original label. It's linked to my pre-registration and code repo here. Link attached. That com citation is enforcement. No puff chest, just receipts. The attempt dies quietly. You're nice stops being a harvest field. The neuroscience price claiming space, the room will, what owning value feels like. You don't need a new personality,